Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Welcome back to the second session that we are conducting about preparation of patent agent examination 2024. And in this series today, we have a session on how a fresher student without any prior knowledge of patents scored 192 marks in patent agent exam 2023. And if you remember, last week we had conducted a session with All India topper, AR2, Mr. Siddharth, wherein he shared his insights about preparation of patent agent examination. Today, I have with me Himangi Bhole. Himangi is a B.Pharm graduate from Pune College of Pharmacy, and thereafter she did PG Diploma in Regulatory Affairs. She cleared the patent agent exam in first attempt in 2023, and she also, I would say, scored really very high, 192 marks actually. She had 71 marks in paper one, 78 marks in paper two, and 43 marks in Viva Voce as such. Beyond that, Hemangi also happens to work with me actually in my team at Patlex Business Solutions. So, welcome Hemangi for this live session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Hemangi. Before we actually start, आपको ये लगा था कि एक live online platform पे your boss would kind of interview you?
बिल्कुल भी नहीं, sir. बिल्कुल भी नहीं.
Okay, and I hope you must be actually feeling proud about what you achieved in, for the patent agent exam last year.
कोशिश की थी, sir, करने की. Thankfully, हो पाया.
Yes, absolutely. So, Himangi, just to start with, tell us how you actually, thought of appearing for patent agent exam. What prompted you to go for it as such?
So actually, I completed my bachelor's in the year 2021, and after that, I took a post-graduation diploma course in regulatory affairs from MIT. And meanwhile, I was also doing my job at LabCorp Drug Development. But there came a point last year where I had severe medical conditions, and due to them, I had to discontinue my work. I had to look more into my health, and it was kind of just one option I had, either do this or do that. So I had to take care of my health at that time, and I discontinued LabCorp after taking few months of experience from the company. And then after getting normalized from whatever issues I had, then I had the same question, what next now? Because I was taking a post-graduation diploma course, and at the same time I had discontinued my job, and then now I had to look forward. So I just came through a video on Instagram about a patent agent examination from some person from Delhi, I suppose. So I went to my professor, Dr. Amol from MIT, and asked him that I do not have any knowledge about this area and wanted to know about it, because even she was talking about inventions and stuff related to patents. So I was more curious to know more about it, and so that is when he referred me your number, and he said that he is the best person who can help you with the information and the knowledge that you need for that. And then after I just went through some information online as well about what is patent agent examination, and firstly, why do you take that exam and what does it include, and after doing that, which area are you getting into? So that was something that really attracted towards it to me, and that is when I went into it and I came to you. And yes, I just took the exam. I just knew that yes, I have to appear this year, and later on, whatever it is, I had no idea what I will be doing further, but at that very moment I knew that yes, I have to do this, and I undertook the exam.
Okay, wonderful. Good to know that. So I still remember when you had called me up, and it was, I think, a Sunday morning actually. And like, you mentioning about not knowing anything much about patents as such, but then like, and of course that point of time you also didn't know that we run the classes for the same. But then like, how did you actually try to explore the available resources that are freely available, maybe on the patent office website, on like, maybe related to exam preparation specifically? Because I think rather than actually preparation, the strategy for preparation is something which is really crucial.
Okay, so while starting with the preparation, uh, honestly speaking, I started it the wrong way. Firstly, I started reading the Patents Act. So I simply opened the portal, I opened the Patents Act, and I started reading it. So as I kept reading it, I understood that this language is not my cup of tea. Like, I'm from a background where we learn or we read about mechanism about drugs and other formulation, and then landing onto a legal language is not very easy. So, and at the same time, it was I could not understand. I used to read, but I was not able to understand. And then I am a visual and auditory learner. So at that time I understood that this is not going to work. I stopped. I had just read 2 to 3 sections. I stopped there and then started a strategy where, for me, practical experiences or visual learning, auditory learning is something which interests me. So then I started comparing patent and its journey. So I like tried to give life to a patent, and then I made the patent go through a journey to through different phases. So that made me easier. So instead of like starting from section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then understanding what is written in that section and what does that mean, I totally discontinued that pattern, and then I started with this. So I also watched some YouTube videos which really helped me. And then what I did, first I watched a single part of the journey of patent from a video. I understood the bulletin points from the video. And then I came back to the, since I was taking classes from you, then I went back to the videos which we had on the EduLiterati platform. So it was like first getting the bulletin points from the videos, from the visuals, which helped me, and then understanding the entire story of the bulletin points from the videos of the seminars. So that way it really helped me, because in that case it did not pressurize me to completely memorize the section numbers and the rules and form numbers and things like that, but it made that process as well easier, because now you know that a patent is in the representation process or a post grant opposition process. So now you know that the patent is in this part of his life. So now you know what has to be done in this part, and then you know, okay, what forms are required here, what fees are required here. So that makes the pattern of learning and understanding more easy.
Himangi, as a fresher, did you ever feel, I would say, pressurized या कभी confidence low हुआ कि, because when we are conducting the classes or हमारे batch में भी, when we have senior people as well, and like, you are just like I would call it as a kid among the big ones actually. So at any point of time, did you feel pressurized, or did you feel like you won't be in a position to do that, or थोड़ा सा low confidence हुआ?
So very honestly speaking, शुरू से लगा है क्योंकि लैंग्वेज डिफिकल्ट होती है। ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत एक ही तो एक्ट है कर लेंगे, वैसा नहीं होता है। जब वो पढ़ने जाते हैं ना, देन यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दैट एक ही एक्ट इज, एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन मेमोराइजिंग इट। एंड जब अंडरस्टैंडिंग की बात आती है, वी हैड very much experienced people as well in the sessions, and there used to be a point where they are asking the questions which do not even struck into my mind. So it was like either I am understanding it the wrong way, or something wrong is going in between, like that. But then I understood that it is okay to be on your own page, and then to continue the way you are going. It does not mean to, just keep going, no matter you understand or don't understand, but you can have your own pace. There can be a time, there used to be days where I used to open the videos also and tried to understand from there, and they would not help me. But then there were days where I could simply sit straight 2 hours and understand anything and everything which was been shown, or it was easier. So like your own pace is the best way to learn, I feel. And then yes, there were much experienced people in the sessions. They had their level of understanding, and that is why they used to come up with those questions. But then bottom line is that even it's all about, you should understand what you are learning, and it's not necessary to understand that you should be of that level of their understanding. It should start with yours, and then gradually you would be at a place that yes, you can understand the entire concept.
Yeah, but then at any time during your preparation, did you actually think that you would score so high?
No, actually, no, because I was initially struggling with the understanding part itself. So, scoring was a complete different motto, or I would say that was not even in my uh, area at that very point. All I knew was that okay, I was actually curious about the entire process and the entire examination, because this is something very new. It's not something like you keep hearing from people, and you are very well accustomed to this area. So that is why, firstly, learning something new is of my interest. So I kept continuing with whatever I could, or whatever I could study.
Yeah, let's actually go to the preparation now, or the way you prepared for 3, 4 months. Did you have a separate strategy for paper one and paper two?
Paper one is, as I mentioned earlier, not going section wise, but instead, what you say, dividing the patent into its own journey, into its own parts of its life. That strategy helped me because what happens, there are some sections, or there are some part of the Patents Act which are easily understandable. It's not necessary that everyone can understand in the same manner, but for me there were some sections which I could understand easily, and then there were some which were really very difficult. So the ones which were easily understandable, I started to completely, fix those concepts in my mind. So gradually, what happened? One concept, then second, then third, then fourth, and like one by one, I could do all of them. And for paper two, I guess your classes were everything, the Guru Mantra, because it is really important to understand the format of drafting. It's not just about, writing the title and then going to the abstract and then discussing the claims. It is not simply that way. Understanding an invention, be it from any field, it is really very necessary, because until and unless you don't understand the invention, no matter how much you gain expertise in the drafting part, it is not going to help to draft that particular invention.
Yeah. Himang, you mentioned when speaking about the paper one, actually, there were certain concepts that were easy, or there were certain sections that were comparatively easy to understand. and there were certain, I would say, which were difficult as such. Of course, I know now that you are practicing as well, although you haven't got your patent agent number yet. But then, can you throw some light on the concepts, specific concepts, which you felt were easy? Of course, it's 4 months, 5 months now you prepared, but then certain concepts which you felt were comparatively easier, and the ones which were, I won't call it difficult, but I would call it a bit complex as such.
So for me, the sections which included patents which are not inventions which are not patentable, that section was simple. Again, it was simple because it had live examples or case reports which would throw light onto those sections, and which would give you more idea about how this practically works. So I suppose section 3, it was helpful. Then, I mean, it was easier. Then the pre-grant opposition, the post-grant opposition part, compulsory license. At least these were the 3 initial concepts which were easier for me to easily understand.
What about the complex ones, which you
The
felt were
complex,
difficult?
yeah, the complex ones were the one which even had very complex legal language as well. There were um, what I suppose terms such as injunction, and then I still don't remember those section honestly, but I still am still not very well versed to those section even now. But then what I did to just to have a very basic understanding for those sections, just a week before exam, I kept like watching the videos, or kept reading some things about it, which would at least give me a frame to write, if not everything.
Yeah, and I think what you're mentioning is so true, because those are the terminologies wherein patent agents are not involved, like infringements, the injunction or legal related things. But then we know that now, since we are practicing, as well as when we conducted the classes, and when we had the exam as well, it's just 10 to 15% of the entire syllabus as such. And maybe you shouldn't skip it, but then you can kind of have a separate strategy for that as such. So let's kind of discuss a bit about, I would say, the case studies, or the interpretative kind of questions, or situational based questions as such. How, did you kind of have a strategy jahan pe paper 2 part 1 and part 2 are split or separate, and for paper 2 part 1, you tried to have any specific thing to be done so that you are in a position to answer them in the exam?
No, for paper 2, directly while appearing, I just followed one simple strategy which you had mentioned, to start with the 30 mark questions, then 20, and then 10. And I like blindly used that strategy. The moment I got my question paper, I did not even dare to read the question number 1. I just simply flipped the question paper back to the last page, like starting where the 30 marks questions start from, and then start with the drafting part. Because at times what happened, even, and specifically for me, if at all I read the questions which are of 10 marks or which are explanatory, there might come a time that I might not know the answer. And then while drafting the invention, this doubt might keep, lingering into my mind, like
Yep.
what if, and what is the answer, or what are the sections. And that might, disturb my drafting part as well, and I won't be able to do better on the mention, or on those answers as well. So what I just read the guidelines. It's not like I completely skipped the first page. I read the guidelines which give you basic instructions for the paper, and then I directly flipped to the last page and started the drafting part. And then to the 20 marks question again, which was drafting claims and abstract, and then to the 10 marks question.
Yeah. So that was about the exam day as such. My
Yeah.
question was a bit, I would say, more about the preparation strategy, like the way you mentioned about the drafting is practice. What about the paper to first part as a practice, or when you are actually studying that point of time? Like was there any specific thing that you would like to highlight here?
The previous question papers actually somewhat helped me because paper two is not about theoretical knowledge. It is all about practical knowledge which you can apply, because those questions are even the ones which we got in these examination were not easy for me as well. So even in that case, the how the previous papers helped is the questions might be different, but the concept might be same. And
Yeah.
once you start reading the questions, then you start understanding the format of the paper, or you start to understand that what is expected from your side as as an applicant, or as the one who is writing the exam. So I kept referring some videos which were about the previous question papers for everything, right from the 10 marks questions, 20 marks questions, 30 marks questions. And then only few, just one or two, I tried to download from the patent office website, but then those were really difficult, so I just kept them apart and then again came back to the videos which were of the previous question papers, because this is completely, it is completely two different side. These are the ones which you see, the patents which you see on the official website, and the ones which you get in the exam.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's how you were one of those rare, I would say, wherein you had more marks in paper two compared to paper one as such. Like, so it may have helped strategically as well, right? I have a question from one of the students as such, and of course, uh, uh, this discussion is live on our YouTube channel as well. So we have a question from Parinita. Uh, what are the do's and don'ts for a late beginner? Of course, what she means is now we are in the month of October, let's say exactly 3 months after this, we have an exam scheduled on 7th of January. And I still remember when you had approached me, it was somewhere around Feb, exactly 3 months, 3.5 months time you had. So maybe do's and don'ts as such, if you can, I know this would be more generalized question, but then anything that you would like to highlight or your perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, even I was a late beginner because our exam was in the month of May and I started preparing from the month of mid-March, I would say. And then again for the first 15 days, I kept reading the sections as I mentioned earlier. So again, it started from mid-March. Some do's is that the like initially the don't part is that you need not panic. That's the very first thing, because at this point, you know yourself that you're a lead beginner. And that itself gives you some anxiety that I'm already starting late. And what if I do not complete the entire section or things like that? But then I would say that starting late can also be advantageous because the sections are fresh in your mind, and since you know that you have few time left with you, you do not let it go waste. You try to use your own strategies, or you try to use your own understanding which can be helpful for yourself only. So that is, I would say, that there's no such do's or don'ts. But yeah, I would say even as I mentioned earlier, there can be days where you're not able to understand even a single word, and that is completely okay, because there are going to be days where you can simply sit straight for, say, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, when your mind is really able to take all of it. And that pace, whichever you have for yourself, is going to create a good understanding of the entire concept as well, and it is also going to keep that information fed in your brain fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. I second on what you mentioned is firstly that you are a late beginner. I've been experiencing this since I would say so many months, I would say when you have started working with me. That is first thing. And second thing, maybe I can add on what you mentioned is if you are a late beginner versus I would say someone who started quite early, maybe 6, 8 months back, then the biggest challenge with patent agent exam is not about the volume of the syllabus, but it is about the continuity actually, or uh, honestly speaking, it is more about the momentum that you can carry till the exam actually. And if you are a bit of, I would say, late beginner, that becomes an advantage because your momentum till exam would be kind of continued as such, and you would be in a position to kind of like, say say something which would be really useful for you as I also have one more question for you, and definitely I've been asking this question or this thing again and again to you. Did you actually prepare notes while on your own, or did you actually write down in the diary when you are preparing for the exam?
So the creative part of me somehow inspired me to make colorful flowcharts
Oh wow.
of the journey of the patent. So I used to make a flow chart if it is a representation journey. If the patent is at a position where now he is receiving pre-grant oppositions. So in that case, what is the patent? What all is going to happen in the life of that patent? So I made a flow chart of all the sections, the fees, the forms required at that stage, and in a schematic manner, like initially what would happen if this happened, then what would be the next step, then what would be the result. So and then I simply made them thoda sa colorful and creative. So I used to go through I honestly went through the flow chart for the last 15 days regularly without skipping a single day, and which that really helped me a lot.
Yeah, I know that you're damn creative as such, but then you never told me this thing about those creative charts with different color. Do you still have with them with you?
I might have.
Oh, I would actually love to see them firstly, and if possible, would like to share it with everyone as such, because that's something I would say kind of giving back to the society or your community of patent agents as such. Okay. Hemangi, as a undergrad, generally we don't have much of exposure to research as such, and we know that patents are more related to research. Like kind of from technical understanding point of view about the invention, was there any challenge? This is my first question. And second question is, coming from pharma, did you feel that, if an invention from electronics or mechanical or chemistry comes in the exam, and that may be something which would be a problem while drafting? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, since there has been a lack of research in a particular field due to absence of exposure to a master's degree, a full-time offline master's degree, it can be challenging to understand invention while actually practicing it as a patent agent. But then for the examination part, it won't be difficult because it is actually simple. Once if you go through any question paper of the last few years, you would see that the question itself is framed in such a way that you can simply draft the entire invention straight, picking the lines from the question itself. So you just need to understand which part of the question has to be picked up and inserted into the specific part of the invention. Once you understand that, then it becomes easier. the drafting part becomes easier. And coming to inventions which were not from my field, from other fields such as mechanical, the answer is same to that. Yeah, obviously understanding the invention, those inventions can be difficult because you are not exposed to those areas and you have no idea of how they are built or how they are designed. So it can be a difficult task to understand what the invention is. But uh, if you read that, if you read the question itself, you would understand that they are framing the question itself, where the beginning part is explaining you what the invention is and what is the main objective is of the invention. If you come to the middle part of the invention, you would understand they are explaining of how the if it is a mechanical device, then they are explaining you that how it is designed or how it is built, I would say. So, focusing the specific areas and reading them in a way that you can understand the invention can be really helpful.
Yeah. Again, discussing about paper two, I have a question here from Sanjeev Thakur who asks you. You mentioned about those beautiful, colorful charts. Actually, he's asking the question that did you write the answers as flowchart in paper two, especially for 5 and 10 marks questions?
You don't get time to use a different color pen at the very first moment.
And I think it's
And
not allowed as well.
it's not allowed, and then you won't even get time, and there can be also a moment that you would consume more time in understanding the invention of the 30 marks question, and you would not have enough time to write the 10 marks questions. So in that case, what I preferred is I simply mentioned the main bulletin points, that what is the section number, what could be the section number which the question is related to, the form which can be used here, the fees which would be applied in this particular section, and then a very brief explanation of that very same. Because again, in this year's question paper as well, we did not, if I did not get that much time to cover the entire question in a paragraph manner or an explanatory manner. So this is the way I used to answer. I wrote the section number followed by the forms and the fees. I was very bad, and I am still bad, and with learning the rules. So I did not go into that area. I did not even peep into that area. I kept it as it is, because that is not something I was unable to understand till the end. So I let it be aside, and I focused on what was more understanding to me, what was more easier for me to grasp and to write as well.
Yeah, I think strategically what really helped you to score really very high was that 30-20-10-5 pattern rather than 5-10-20-30.
Yeah.
Probably if you had done that 5-10-20-30, probably your 5 mark question was more, I would say, in a flow chart type or but then yes, that's a good strategy. And I think we have been discussing this while actually preparing for the exam as such with everyone. Himangi, what kept the momentum for 3 months? Of course, I understand that we had weekly classes on Sundays. We had Sunday sessions. In between every 15 days, we had mock tests. But then, did these things help firstly, and beyond these things, what was those other things which kept the momentum for entire 6 days a week, and I would say for the 3 months actually, because at the end the patent digit exam preparation, as we discussed, is not about the volume, it's more about your understanding and it's more about your momentum.
Firstly, the classes which we had every week, that is the very primary thing that gave the momentum, that gave some spontaneity to the process. And then secondly, for me, honestly, I would not say that, I did not even skip a day or I did not skip a week and then I continuously studied for these hours and I continuously kept writing. I really did not do any of this. I only followed one simple thing. I would read or I would watch the video and understand only if I am at a position of grasping that, um, what you say, that information. If I'm not in a position, if I'm simply opening my laptop, watching the video, but I'm not able to understand or I'm not able to grasp the concept, I'm wasting my time as well, and I'm wasting my further coming time as well. So better I just, give some break to myself on that day. And instead I used to spend few more minutes the very next day, or the next to next day, whichever would come. But and again, the journey process helped me, because it is like a story. You are always like, anyone is interested to know how does the story end. You would never keep it in the middle. You see, like, we have started the story and then we are in the middle of a story, and now you're like, "Ki, nahi, ab bas ho gaya." No, everyone is curious to know end mein kya hua. So if you give a story to your own patent, if you give a life to it, if you let it go through a journey, through a story, you would always be eager ki kya hua end mein. And by that time you are already at the end, you have already covered that concept, so you have already understood that particular section or area or that particular concept.
Yeah. So Himangi, during this 3 months journey, I would say, of course, we were discussing a few things, but did you get a chance to interact with other patent agent exam aspirants, and did it actually help as well?
Yeah, the last few days, my friend from the class itself, so we studied for the last 2 days together, and we kept revise whatever we studied. Firstly, studying together can really be helpful, because the if you read one section, you might have understood it in one way, but the same section can be understood by the second person in a different way, or she can provide an additional knowledge to what you have understood. So discussing the concepts, discussing the sections with each other can be really very, very helpful. And it can make not just like hers, but even your understanding process very well. And it also gives you, you know the motivation to keep going, because you at that time you realize that you are not just one person sailing in that boat. There are many others sailing in the same boat, and you have to make it to the end successfully. So then you two come together, or if you are like working in groups, can be really helpful, and it can be a good strategy for preparation, I would say. But I did not have many friends, or other patent agent examination students or applicants. So I had one friend of mine, and really studying with her was really very, very helpful. And luckily she has completed her pharmacy, and then additionally she is taking her education in law. So she helped me to make the law language easy, to understand some concepts which cannot be understood by me. If she would not have explained me those sentences in that language, I would not have understood it even till now. So
Yes.
it is helpful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Again, this is one question is again about that momentum actually, and when we are discussing this in our current batch as well, we are kind of heading for a festive season, Dashera, Navratri, Diwali, New Year, and then exam. Of course, at your time, in the 23 exam as well, we have everyone has a journey on a personal level as well, which kind of conflicts with your kind of professional level as such. So, how did you actually, I would say this is more about self motivation, because I know that you are based in Lonavala, a small town, jahan pe probably in the entire Lonavala, we don't know if anyone knows patents as such, but then wahan se karte hue, how was it actually, for self motivation as well as, I would say, keeping yourself to a level जहाँ पे कि आप वो मोमेंटम कंटिन्यू कर सको.
Yeah, so I had an incident, a very, very unfortunate, bad, name it anything, unpleasant, or say it anything, really unpleasant experience and incident in my life during the preparation time itself. And the exam was just the very next week, and this week I'm going through the very incident. And then I have visited to place which I never went. And I suppose if not at that very moment, I would not have stepped onto those doors as well, or those areas as well. But since that happened, yes, it can be very demotivating. You start questioning your self-worth. You start questioning if you are really capable of doing anything, or at times you even start questioning your doings, as you say, your karma or anything like that. But then a thought comes in your mind that if you can go through such rough times, if you can deal with this, अब इतना बुरा हो ही गया है अपने साथ, तो क्यों ना खुद से कुछ अच्छा कर ले. So that अच्छा कर ले, that is not someone is not going to bring a thali of happiness or success to you and going to serve it to you कि ये ले बेटा. No, that is that part. If the bad part life has thrown to you, I guess the good part is in your hand to throw back to the life, that if you gave me this, see, I give you back. So that is something which can keep you going, because yes, it demotivates you to a point where you like everything shatters, and you don't even think that you can keep going from this particular point. And then you're almost on the verge of giving up on everything. But yes, and one thing I believe is having supportive people in your life is also very important in any kind of journey. It's not just about patent agent exam journey, it is about any journey in your life. Having supportive people, if not people, just supportive person is also enough to help you sail through the boat and reach wherever you want to. But again, for that you have to be lucky enough. I was really lucky enough to have such people in my life to, who kept me motivating and who reminded me that if you can go through all of these problems together, then why not just take a milestone ahead, step a milestone ahead. And that really helped me, that kept me motivated. And I suppose the bad incident was the part where I knew कि भाई अब average marks लाके ना फायदा नहीं है. Now you have to do something more than that. So that is I guess that part kind of triggered my journey. That is when मेरा आधे घंटे की पढ़ाई 2 घंटे में shift हो गई, and it helped. Even that helped. Everything helps when you are ready to take it as a help.
Absolutely, and I think that was more inspirational, I would say, for everyone who is listening today, as well as those who would watch the videos, watch this particular video again. Himagi, I have a question again, more for patent engine exam preparation. How did you memorize your the form numbers and fees specifically? And of course, sections and rules we have discussed, but forms and fees, how did you try anything for that?
First, understanding where would the form fee, on which section the form fee will be applied to. You have to first understand that, and then after learning which section does it belong to, then learning what that section is about. So that is the strategy I use. I did not use a specific strategy or something like that, but this is what this simply helped. And then initially, even I could not memorize. But then, as you mentioned, once you are spontaneously going through the sections or going through the concepts, then automatically, it's like ये सेक्शन, अरे हाँ इसमें फॉर्म ये लगता है, इसमें अभी फीस ये लगेंगे. It's just a learning process. It is just a process where you understand step by step. It is not necessary if you have opened a particular section today, you have to memorize everything in it at once. You can start with the very basic to knowing that what is included in this section. Just one keyword is also enough. If you are able to understand that, then you can fix the puzzle step by step.
Yeah. So coming back to the exam day, now, of course, you discussed a lot about how you did it in the paper two, but how was paper one, as well as the mindset, and I would say, what was your approach in terms of the question paper one specifically? Was it like you just read all the questions and then, or else, you had anything specific there in paper one?
No, for paper one, I simply started with like first, second, third, because what is trickier in first question paper is not the time management part, but the circles which they ask to mark. And if you don't go serial number wise, you might, I won't say that you will, but you might mistakenly circle some different question number answer or some different answer. Because if you're randomly, just going to question number 2, first solving that, or starting from question number 3, solving that, you might jump onto different question numbers and mark those circles. So I did not want to take any risk like that. I simply went serial number wise and kept marking like that way.
Okay. And on the exam day, did you have that confidence? Yes, I have done it, and now I'll be eligible for Viva.
No,
You didn't
the
have?
way we answered paper 2, I was just 40% confident that I would get through paper 2 and paper 1, because we get paper 1 marks and we are not sure of paper 2. But even paper 1, because after completing paper 1, when we had discussion among ourselves, the answers given by everyone were different. Like we are 4 people sitting together and each of us is picking 4 different answers. So either you question your own understanding, or you get confused that if the person in front has not understood it the right way, or then you get confused in a very different way. So it was all confusing at that very moment. And I did not even start preparing for Viva, I guess, before a week. I just revised for 4 days the concept before the Viva and appeared for it.
How was the? Of course, you mentioned that you just prepared for 4 days for Viva, but then how was the preparation as such for in those last 4 days? Did you just revise or anything you focused on as such?
For even for the 4 days and also for the theory papers, the last week and the last 4 days, I kept reading the booklet which you provided us every day. And the booklet was the only thing I read while giving Viva, because it is so specific with every section. It is so specific with every explanation, and it has like it is just what you need to know for that particular time. Because Viva, there is no specific format as such, like you get for paper 1, paper 2. Anything could be asked, anything can be questioned. So you don't know what will you have to answer, or which which area will you have to answer from. And the best part while the Viva was, while giving the introduction to yourself, it's for to your like introduction itself, we mention always that we complete I completed my graduation in this field. So I mentioned I completed my graduation in pharmacy. So they particularly asked me questions which were from the pharma background itself. So it is not necessary that you should know everything, but you should know enough from your background at least.
Yes, yes, and that's the key actually for the preparation of Viva. So, you mentioned about karma actually, like during our discussion. So when you came out of the, I would say, Viva, did you feel that your karma was good enough to help you in your Viva?
Yeah, karma was, I suppose, way too good, because not just the patent agent exam, but there were also other things that really happened in a very unexpected way in my life, and I'm also looking forward to them in the very same manner. So I was like, yeah, I believe that at least I did few good karmas to get to this point.
Absolutely. There is also a term called collective karma, which means that it's just not about you as an individual, but the entire ecosystem that you are into. That also brings some karma to you, and to some extent, I would take the credit for that as well. I would say, but then before we actually sign off, we have a question from Dr. Prabhakaran. Did you undergo a mock test? If so, how many, in paper one and paper two?
Okay, so mock test, I only went to. There were many, but I just went to, and I scored around 13 and 17 marks in the mock tests. So I gave the third last and second last mock test. So, like, after getting to know the scores, I did not give the last mock test. I just knew ki, like, for me it was quite I came to a point where I started getting panicked, or I started getting anxious. So I thought of not appearing for the mock test, only because uh, I simply wanted to keep, because I was in a different pace. Even if you compare to the entire class which we had, or to all the students, or even when I had come to the offline session which was held in Mumbai, even that time I realized I'm on a very different page, or I'm on a different very pace compared to others. And I did not want to run, or to jump onto their page suddenly and skipping the parts which are important. So I preferred just keeping my own pace, following whatever I'm understanding and whatever I'm feeding to my brain, and which would ultimately help me in the main exam. So I appeared just two exams, mock tests. They helped definitely to understand of what kind of questions can be asked, and if such questions are asked, how you should answer them. So for strategies like that, they were very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, you scored 192 marks, which was, I would say, for us as a class, it was third highest actually. We had two other students from our regular batch, wherein they scored 208 and 193. But then I think you also scored really very high in the Viva, 43 marks as well. So, of course, that's a something amazing journey, or I would say an inspirational journey, because मुझे याद है 2020 में, when I started with the classes for the first time, my the first video which got kind of viral, I would say, was about how I cleared my patent agent exam in 4 months time. But then now I have a girl here, again, who just worked for prepared for 3 months as such, and maybe uh, I had different kind of mindset while appearing for patent agent exam. I was trained, I was working actually, that point of time. This is something which is really inspirational, and I can see this from the comments that I'm getting on the live chat at YouTube. I'll read just one before we actually sign off this particular session. That is, congratulations, Miss Himangi. My best wishes and blessing for your success in your personal and professional life. That's coming from one of our students who is a senior professor in Tamil Nadu, and who is currently preparing for the patent exam. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Hemang. Yes, thank you so much, Hemangi. It was really good to have you here on this particular platform. We have been discussing, I would say, a lot of things, or we are working together as such. But then this was, I would say, a different journey for me for last 55 minutes. Firstly, not only to understand your journey of patent agent exam preparation. Let me tell you, when actually the patent agent exam happened, or last few days, like the way I know, like what you went through as well, to some extent I can say that. But then I was a bit, I would say, confused, or a bit cautious. I didn't have that confidence on you that you would crack the exam, honestly speaking. Let me accept it here, because as you said, kind of not regular at times with the classes, or didn't appear for the mock test. So, but while doing that particular, I would say, the entire 3 months, not only the classes, but the way we conducted it for everyone, that was something I was pretty much confident. But then you kind of, I would say, in a way, a different path you chose, I would say, on your own, and that help you to crack the exam. Not only crack the exam, but I would say, for a fresher, as a fresh B farm who doesn't have much of the exposure for research, who doesn't know much about the patents, and if you are scoring so high, that's real achievement. And I really wish all the best to you, Hemangi, as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And also thank you for inviting me to this platform. It was